Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Coming to you from Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. Of course, that is Security Gun Club right here in Woodinville, Washington. Hey, about a year ago, out here in the People's Republic of Washington, we were carefully watching an assault weapon ban. Now, it was the 7th time that our legislature had attempted it. In fact, the bill was in its exact same form as it had been the 6 previous times. But there was just something different about it. There was something different about the numbers in both the House and the Senate. There was just something different about the energy that was coming out of there, the bad mojo that was coming out of there. And I was telling everybody in Washington State the same thing that I'm going to tell everybody in the state of Colorado right now. Stock up now. Stock up right now. And the reason I'm saying that is I know that your state legislature has kicked around an assault weapon ban for years. And I know there's always some way that this thing has actually found a way to die. But I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I've been looking into the tea leaves, been geeking out with some people in Colorado, and I really don't like where this is going. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about why everyone in Colorado better stock up right now. You watch the news, you read the headlines, and you know it for yourself. Your community is less safe than it was just a few years ago. So you decided to purchase your first firearm. But like everything else in your life, you wanted to do this lawfully and responsibly. So you trained and trained and trained. You learned the laws of self-defense and all the tactics necessary to protect yourself and your family. To this day, you continue to train, and you now live by the motto that it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You are prepared for anything, or so you thought. Who are you going to call when it all hits the fan? Who's going to defend you for defending them? Who's going to stand in your corner when you realize that proof beyond a reasonable doubt means one thing in a high school civics class and something altogether different in the real world? Introducing Right to Bear, self-defense coverage that protects you so that you can protect them. With an attorney-answered hotline, you will always get a confidential conversation with your state's attorney. There are no cap limits for either criminal or civil defense. All forms of self-defense are covered, so from a fist to a firearm, you are protected. And you will have some of the nation's most passionate 2A attorneys defending you. And the peace of mind that you will have knowing that Right to Bear is in your corner, well, that's priceless. Listen, I've been in this industry long enough to know 2 things with absolute certainty. Good lawyers aren't cheap, and cheap lawyers aren't good. So visit my friends today at protectwithbear.com, and if you use the promo code WGL, you will receive 10% off. Listen, you need to protect yourself so that you can protect them. Visit my good friends at protectwithbear.com. Okay, Colorado, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about House Bill 1292, yet another run at banning assault weapons, or what we like to call here on this channel, semi-automatic rifles. But oftentimes it bans much, much more than just rifles. It also bans wide varieties of pistols and certain tactical shotguns. It is a pretty grotesque ban. Now, I get it that you guys is a little bit like the boy that cried wolf. You've been through this before, but here's the problem. You see, for the first time ever, you now have a House bill which is sitting on the floor to be voted at that could be passed out of a chamber. And oh, by the way, that chamber is your House of Representatives. And oh, by the way, there is plenty of votes to get it out of the House. And then, if it heads over to the Senate, if you just want to do the math, yeah, there are plenty of votes there. So what's going on? Well, what's going on is that your politics have shifted. And yes, elections have consequences. And at this point, we believe that there is a very good probability that Colorado will in fact pass an assault weapon ban. Now, we've also been saying on this channel, hey, summer of 2025, we think we'll be getting a ruling, probably out of a case of either Maryland or Illinois, that will strike these bans down forever. But Colorado, you can't guarantee that. And if you do not have a firearm in this platform and you want one, or let's say you got a nice little collection, but you want to have a bigger collection, yet now's the time to start stocking up. And by the way, all the Colorado FFLs, you can all thank me later. Okay, Colorado, let's remember that in the House of Representatives, the Democrats currently have a 46-19 majority That's well beyond a supermajority at that point, okay? And here's the other thing. There has been a significant amendment to the bill, because one of the things that we talked about on this video, and it shocked the heck out of us when we saw it, is that a person who was found in violation of this law could be fined up to $500,000. Well, the inclusion of that in that legislation would have required it to also go through a finance committee. The sponsor of the bill has since removed that and said, nah, we're not going to fine him. We'll just throw him in jail instead, which means it does not have to go into that finance committee. That finance committee, by the way, had a couple Democrats who had previously killed this bill in the past, so it's not even going to get their fingerprints on it. It's going straight to the House floor, and Washington gun law is predicting that, in fact, it will pass out of your House. Now, Colorado, where you really got to watch this thing is when it gets to your Senate. Right now, the Democrats have a 23-12 majority, but like with many, many state houses or state legislatures, as well as on the federal level, the House of Representatives often has a tendency to be the kids' table, and your Senate has a tendency to be the grown-ups table. And so there seems to be a lot more moderates in the Senate. You see, one of the first stops that this bill would have to make if it made it to the Senate is to the Senate Judiciary Committee, in which the Democrats only have a slim one-vote majority in that committee. That is a place in which it could possibly die. It's also important to point out that, in fact, there is no Senate co-sponsor to this bill currently. However, there have been a few that have expressed some interest. And obviously, if they believe that they can score political points, chum their political waters, yeah, they will sign on to this bill. And then, of course, if it could make it out of both the Senate and the House, it would have to get to your governor. Would Governor Polis sign it or veto it? He's been quite mum on that. There are some speculations that he would veto it. And there are other speculations that he may have aspirations for higher office. And in fact, that may be something he is, in fact, willing to sign. Theoretically, by the way, if the Democrats held strong, there's actually almost enough votes to override that veto, but the likelihood of actually accumulating enough votes in the Senate to make that happen would be mathematically impossible. But here's the thing you need to understand, Colorado, is that for the first time, maybe in the history of your state, there's a real possibility, and it is mathematically and politically possible, for you to get an assault weapon ban shoved down your throat. And it's for that reason, just like we told all the good folks out here in the People's Republic of Washington last year, you might want to think about stocking up right now. Listen, we'll go ahead and link up all the stuff we relied upon in doing this video down below so that you can geek out on it for yourself. If you got any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information is down there in the description box. And then finally, let's everybody remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay safe.